Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. We're looking back on our Friday evening racing championship, the Super Formula Season 3, Round 10, the penultimate round. There's only one more after this one at Spa, and it's all getting very exciting. Well, let me take you to the championship table. You can see what the grid is up on your screens, and that is reverse of the championship table. So let me take you through the table. At the top of the table, the championship leader at the moment, and he's won 2 already. The first 2 is Talleyrand on 147 points. Second place is Shiren on 130 points. Third place is Racer Brown on 129 points. And in fourth place, Homesick Alien on 121 points. So mathematically, those guys are still in the shout, chasing Talleyrand down, but with a 17-point lead on Shiren, the odds are in Talleyrand's favour, it has to be said. In fifth, we have Digital Blasphemy on 108 points. In sixth, we have Jim on 99 points. Seventh place, Guesty on 98 points. So a little battle there between Jim and Guesty for position. Skyjacker 8th on 86 points. He's joint with Noxie, also on 86 points. Cthulhu 10th on 83 points. Pat is 11th on 75 points. JTX 12th on 21 points. Alexis Maximus 13th on 18 points. And Turtle 14th on 18 points. So the reverse of that on the grid is JTX on pole, with Pat in second, Noxie in third, Skyjacker fourth, Guesty fifth, Jim in sixth, Homesick Alien in seventh, Racer Brown eighth, Shiren ninth, and Talleyrand in 10th. Now, this championship uses championship ballast. So these guys are all running with different weights. They all start at 100%. And then, according to their position in the championship, a weight is added. And JTX, he's out there. He's on 105%, as he missed a round or two. He's carrying 5%. And Pat is on 100%, so Pat's sitting in a strong place there in second place. There's no Cthulhu. So Noxie, he's on 103% ballast, carrying 3% extra. Skyjacker is on 110%. Guesty is on 113%. Jim on 101%. So that battle between Guesty and Jim with a bit of a lighter car than Guesty. Then Homesick Alien, he's on 106%. Racer Brown on 115%. I don't think Racer Brown's been anything under 115% this season. Shiren is on 111%, with Talleyrand on 113%. So they're all of varying weights, and we are racing at the Nürburgring GP, a 3.199 mile track with 16 turns. The Super Formula settings, the fuel is at ×3, the tyres are at ×5. The race distance will be 36 laps, and the time of day is 12 o'clock, the weather being fine. They have the choice of all of the racing tyres, the super softs, the mediums, and the hards, but the super softs can only be used once, only for one stint. In the chat, Racer Brown saying hello again. Hello again. And let us look at the grid, because it's a fine looking grid as well. So there is a JTX in his Porsche Super Formula, car 91. Down there in second, we have Pat's Williams replica. And he's added a little tribute there to Sir Frank Williams, who passed away recently. A great loss to the sport. On third, we have the Noxie in his BMW Project X Super Formula. Then in fourth, we have a Skyjacker. He won the McGann Trophy. I'm sorry for spoilers, but he'll be looking for a good finish here today. He likes the track. Then we have Guesty in fifth in the mild 7 Renault Super Formula. Very feisty racer. Then we have Jim in the Lucky Strike. He's in a close battle with Guesty in the championship table. He'll be trying to maximise his points today. And then we have Homesick Alien in that championship battle. Slipped back a little bit, but you can never count him out in car 77 in the Williams at Leyland. Another tribute there to Sir Frank. Then we have Racer Brown, our podium specialist. No matter how much weight they put him on, he always finds himself up there drinking the champagne. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do here today. Then we have Shiren, the closest title battler to Talleyrand in his Haas, paid for by Mazepin's dad. And then we have in the Subaru Super Formula, the championship leader and a double champion already of the VRC Super Formulas, Talleyrand. So here we go then. What did I say? 36 laps of the Nürburgring ahead. Exciting stuff. And we will waste no more time and get on with it. So there we go. We're looking at JTX on that pole position. Waiting for the green lights. The tyres are getting cold. The red light's on. And it's go. We are off. And remember, Pat's on a lighter car there. He's trying to shuffle over towards JTX, but JTX makes a great getaway there. A great getaway from JTX. Noxie as well getting a good start. Up into second place. Pat slipping back a little bit into fourth. Skyjacker also. Oh, little sideways action with Pat and Skyjacker. Pat trying to get up the inside of Sky, but Sky holds ground and gets himself third. Pat there is losing ground now. Shiren from the back there. Shiren having an absolute blistering start already up to fourth. You can see he wants to make headway in this championship, but Pat's got himself back ahead. Pat giving Shiren barely any room out there. Shiren backing out of it. Now Jim is up the inside. Pat's come back on, giving Shiren a little knock, but it hasn't affected Shiren somewhat. Jim getting past Pat at the moment, with Guesty there in seventh, trying to make his way through. Homesick Alien in eighth, with Talleyrand ninth, and Racer Brown right at the back. But JTX has had the best getaway so far, and he is ahead of Noxie, with Skyjacker holding on to that third place. It looks like they've all started on the racing soft tyres. JTX on the racing soft. Noxie's off. Noxie's off. Noxie's had a bit of an off there. Skyjacker making his way through, and now Skyjacker is up into second place. Can Noxie hold on to that third? He seems to have a bit of ground on Shiren, and he's very close to Skyjacker as they come through the chicane. Oh, and Noxie misses out on the chicane as well. Noxie with a cold tyres possibly, and there's Shiren. He makes his way through, and Noxie slips back into fourth place. But for now, JTX are flying the Finnish colours up at the front end of the pack, with JTX leading from Skyjacker. Shiren now up into third place, trying to get as many points as he possibly can as he is in that championship fight. Noxie there in fourth, with Pat down in fifth place. Guesty in sixth, ahead of Jim. Talleyrand is seventh, ahead of Homesick Alien. And Racer Brown in ninth. Jim slipped back a little bit. He must have had an off. He seems too far away from the pack after only a lap and a half. But JTX is on fire at the moment. Skyjacker setting chase, with Shiren there holding ground just behind. Skyjacker on board with Shiren at the moment, as we can see the back of Skyjacker's car. And again, Skyjacker absolutely loves this track, and he's a tough contender. He did well in the McGanns just before the support series. And further back, we've got Guesty chasing down Pat. And then a clump of cars here with Talleyrand, Homesick and Racer Brown on board with Racer Brown. We can see The view from the back with Homesick Alien in 8th and Talleyrand just ahead of us in 7th place as they make their way up towards the chicane. The NGK chicane. Heading towards the Coca-Cola curve. Very tight there between Homesick Alien and Talleyrand. Up ahead though, JTX tearing away, getting the fastest lap of that lap. And Skyjacker slipping back somewhat with a 140.3 from JTX. Skyjacker only managing a 41.2. Shiren a 40.8. So Shiren closing up on Skyjacker with Pat now in the battle for 4th with Noxie. Noxie on the inside. Can he maintain? Noxie there, and Pat has dropped back into 5th. So Noxie gets the position ahead of Pat in that 4th place. Guesty now into 6th. Being chased by Homesick. Homesick's managed to get himself ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand, remember, carrying more weight than Homesick at the moment. And Racer Brown, one of the heaviest cars out there, is trying to stay to the back of Talleyrand, whilst JTX flying at the moment ahead of Skyjacker. Shiren in that 3rd place. Shiren 2nd in the championship, 17 points adrift of Talleyrand with 25 points up for grabs for that win. Shiren surely wants to try and make up some ground to Talleyrand in the championship. In the chat we have Talleyrand saying hello there. Why hello there, Obi-Wan. And Skyjacker just maintaining ahead of Shiren, on board with Shiren as he chases down Skyjacker. Just can't quite get close enough. They have boost, remember, to help them out. If you look at the bottom right hand of the screen, they've got a little dial that says overtake. When you see that flashing red, that means they're using their boost button to give them an extra oomph. But I believe it does use up fuel, and fuel is very important in this race. Trying to get a best strategy you possibly can. It does look like Shiren's getting ever closer to Skyjacker. Homesick Alien now is up to 4th. He's got himself past Pat and Noxie. It's all a big bunch of cars all along here. Guesty down to 8th behind Talleyrand. And we've missed some juicy racing here with Homesick getting himself up into 4th. Some way off of Shiren, but it's a long race to go. Pat's off the track, but it's not cost him too much. He's using the boost to get back up to speed, but Noxie's got a good run at him down at the chicane, the hairpin, and Noxie is through and up into 5th place, setting chase to the Alien. And there we see Pat and Guesty side by side, as Talleyrand already getting through on Pat. Pat in 7th, ahead of Guesty in 8th, Racer Brown in 9th. Racer Brown seeing all this movement ahead of him, and he's not getting involved. Could be a fuel saving though. Racer Brown can't get anything past him. He's great at his strategies, with Pat now dropping down into 7th, just ahead of Guesty. It's very tight. Guesty's going for the move up the inside of Pat. Not quite sure he made the chicane. It looks like he lifted to let Pat through, and he's let Racer Brown through as well, but he's on the inside line of Racer Brown. Possibly can stay ahead of Racer Brown. It doesn't look like he can. He slipped in behind to get the slipstream. Sat on board with Guesty as he follows Racer Brown down towards the first corner. Racer Brown makes the move on Pat, and so does Guesty. Pat having an absolute mare at the moment. And Guesty just tucked in behind Racer Brown, who's tucked in behind Talleyrand, who is chasing Noxie, I believe. And you can look back and see Pat with that weight advantage, trying to come back at Guesty. Guesty holding his ground. Bit of dirt kicked up earlier here. Noxie, Talleyrand, they're still holding ground, with Racer Brown there in 7th, Guesty just ahead of Pat. Jim on a comeback. He's got a 140.7 there. He is closing back up to the pack. I don't think he's as far away as he was. But JTX, another flying lap from JTX there, out in the lead. On lap 4, a 40.2. Skyjacker averaging in the 41s there. Late 40s, early 41s. And he's got Shiren breathing heavily down his neck. A lot of pressure there for Skyjacker to deal with. As Shiren in touching distance. Oh, looks for an opening, but it's not one quite there. It's going to have to sit tight. Skyjacker trying to break the toe, moving over to the wall. And Shiren sticking behind that Chevrolet Super Formula, sponsored by Monster. As Skyjacker tries to make his escape from third place. But Shiren sticking away with him. And JTX, so Homesick still in that fourth place. Talleyrand and Racer Brown have got themselves past Noxie. Pat's got past Guesty. Guesty is dropped back to Jim, it seems. So Guesty may have had an issue, but Jim now, he can see someone to race. And that's all he needs. Pat there, still very close. Noxie very close to Racer Brown. On board with Noxie as he chases down Racer Brown as they come to the hairpin. Oh, nearly ran out of road there for Noxie, but he kept it just in play, but he's lost a bit of ground to Racer Brown there, up ahead of him. Racer Brown closing the gap to Talleyrand. These two very close on track to each other as they make their way through. Homesick Alien isn't too far ahead of those guys either. So Homesick Alien has to watch himself as they make their way around. Shiren and Skyjacker still in their battle. Shiren using a little boost to try and close up on the Chevy in his Haas. Very close behind now as they go around the first corner into the left-hander. Very tight between Skyjacker and Shiren at the moment. Shiren right there, right up Skyjacker's chuff. He'll have to watch himself. And yes, Shiren ready to make that deadly move. He can see JTX is pulling away ahead of him. JTX becoming a dot in the distance now as these two battle it out. Racer Brown's got himself ahead of Talleyrand as Shiren goes for the move into the hairpin, up the inside, later on the brakes, and Shiren is now up into second in his Haas. And this is looking very tidy out there for these two racers. Virtually the same on fuel. And Shiren making the move. This is good for Shiren's championship battle. Talleyrand down in 6th at the moment with Shiren in 2nd place. But Skyjacker, tenacious as he is, will stay with the Haas for as long as he can, trying to get that position back as they make their way up to the chicane. And they're both through. Oh, a bit of a wiggle on from Shiren, and Skyjacker going for the kill up the inside. Skyjacker engaging kill mode, and he's up and he's past. No, not quite. They're side by side coming down the straight. It's going to be the battle of the late break. Skyjacker just ahead of Shiren, and it's going to be the Big Balls Brigade into the first corner, and Skyjacker with the bigger balls. There's a break later, and he's got the position. Super stuff from the Russian and the Brit out there. The Finnish driver so far, though, JTX disappearing into the distance. Flying at the moment in his Porsche Super Formula. Homesick Alien still ahead of Racer Brown, whom is ahead of Talleyrand. Noxie in 7th place with Pat now in 8th. Jim is up ahead of Guesty, so Jim on the move. Looked like it was all hopeless for him on lap 1. He drifted away from the pack, but he's back in the shout now, chasing down the Pat. But it's Homesick, Racer Brown and Talleyrand. This is a taut battle in the middle of the pack. And Skyjacker is trying to run away from Shiren, but Shiren staying with the black Chevied monster super formula out there of Skyjacker, car 99, who's trying to hold ground here at the Nürburgring. We're already on lap 8 of 36, smashing through those laps at the moment. And Shiren are very close. He's going for another run against the Skyjacker. Skyjacker goes for a nice line through that final corner, the Coca-Cola curve. As they come down the straight, Shiren chasing down Skyjacker. What can he do? He's a little too far back this time around. And Skyjacker maintains nicely there. JTX out there in the front, got his head down. He's doing late 40s, early 41s. And the question is, when are these guys going to pit? They're about halfway through their fuel. That'd be a lap 18 for JTX, which is a one stop if he can get that fuel to keep going. Same as Skyjacker, Shiren as well. They're getting the fuel to last. The tyres don't look too bad. Homesick Aliens fuel about half as well. Racer Brown, I think they're all going to go for a one stop today. Noxie going faster than he's gone, and he's got himself ahead of Talleyrand. So Noxie chasing down Racer Brown now as Talleyrand slips to 7th. Jim there in 8th place. Guesty now, oh, and Pat's dropped behind Guesty. So Pat, we've seen some strong performances from car number 4 this season, but Nürburgring might not be to his taste. And he seems to be having a bit of an up and down race so far. Skyjacker and Shiren, though, that is the battle royale here today as they go through the final corner. And Shiren now, he's going to have a good run in that slipstream. Skyjacker trying to break the toe. Shiren having a look up the inside a little early, but no, he decides against it in this time around, follows him through, then goes for the move. But he's just a little too far back at the moment to get coercion. And he's sticking his nose up there into the chicane, but Skyjacker's got that inside line, and Shiren trying to flip it over to the inside. Now they've got another run to a left, quite speedy left-hander. Then a fast right. Well, not a very fast right, they're down to second gear, so. And then it's a run down to the hairpin. This is the best opportunity for Shiren. He's got that inside line, he's late on the brakes, he's going for the move, and he's done it again. Shiren back up into second, but can he hold on to it? Because Skyjacker is having none of it today. Homesick Alien still holding on to that 4th, with Racer Brown in 5th, Noxie in 6th, just ahead of Talleyrand in 7th, Jim in 8th, Pat 9th. Oh, Guesty's dropped behind Pat. Guesty not having the best race he's had this season, with a Skyjacker now there in 3rd place, looking at the back of Shiren's Haas. And in the chat we have Ryan saying morning, and Shiren saying hi, and Ryan saying nice move there, very cool. So JTX though, still very consistent lap times, late 40s, early 41s, sticking with the plan. And we're saying a lap 18 would be the magic number to pit for these guys. Shiren looks like he's edged away a little bit from Skyjacker. He's used just under a quarter of his boost, where Skyjacker hasn't used any boost whatsoever. Well, maybe a little squirt, but not much at all. Homesick Alien, he usually saves that boost till the later half of the race, when he tries to get himself a nice fastest lap with it. Racer Brown holding ground, not falling away from the Alien at the moment. Noxie in a strong 6th place ahead of Talleyrand, who's in 7th. Jim in 8th ahead of Pat, who is 9th. And Guesty there in 10th spot. Guesty might be the better one, no. Pat's got better fuel than Guesty. It's all similar stuff with the fuel. But them guys further back are really looking after that fuel. Whereas Skyjacker just under half. JTX is on a quarter. And Shiren, so JTX burning through his fuel the most out there. We're on lap 11 of 36. As JTX comes around through the chicane for another tour in the lead. Shiren has really pulled away from Skyjacker, it seems. Maybe Skyjacker going into... Oh, and Homesick Alien starting to catch up to Skyjacker. So I don't know if Skyjacker's made a small mistake or if he is going into major fuel save. He's down in the 42s. His tyres are not looking as happy as they have done. And Shiren pulling away. Did a 41.2 that last time around. Skyjacker a 42.7. Homesick Alien a 41.0. And he's looked after his tyres a lot better than Skyjacker these first 12 laps. So Skyjacker, with all that racing against Shiren, I think he's burnt his tyres a little bit, and he might not be able to push this car to the halfway point, with Homesick Alien now breathing down his neck. Racer Brown not too far behind those guys either. Noxie very close indeed at this point in the race, already 12 laps in the race, nearly over 19 minutes gone, and it's very tight field, very tight. Talleyrand there looking at the back of Noxie's car. Jim there in 8th. He's a little further back from those guys, but he's pulled away from Pat, and Guesty dropped right off the edge of the map. So far, it's not been a great week for Guesty. We saw on Tuesday night, didn't have a great session in the Supra. Yamagibua and Miyabi. But JTX strong at the moment out there in the lead in this first part of the race. But we've seen it all change in the pit stop. Shiren pulling away from Skyjacker, who is under stress and pressure now from Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien closing right up on the Chevy. And early pit stops then. No, I said they were all going to go for a one stop, but they've gone in now. It looks like a two stop race. JTX out there stays out. Noxie stays out. Talleyrand stays out. Jim stays out. The rest of the field looks to have pitted. Pat staying out in 6th, and Guesty looking to continue on. But Skyjacker, Homesick and Shiren, Racer Brown have all come in for fresh rubber and a square of fuel. And JTX will have to be aware of that undercut if they're putting on the super soft tyres. That is the danger. Shiren's the first one out of them. He's gone for racing softs, another set of racing softs. Homesick Alien has gone for all the super softs. And Racer Brown has gone for a set of softs. And Skyjacker racing softs also. Looks like Homesick and Racer Brown short-filled to get track position on Skyjacker. So Skyjacker has dropped behind the Alien and Racer Brown. Shiren also short-filled a little bit. Skyjacker went for the full beans in the fuel department. As JTX, what's he going to do? Is he going to carry on? No, he's coming in as well. He's seen these competitors have popped in. And I honestly thought these guys were going to push it for a one-stop strategy here. But it looks to me like they are going for two stops. An interesting one. Talleyrand then in 3rd place. Noxie and Talleyrand both blasting past the pits, not interested. What is Jim doing? Jim is going to go in for a stop. Pat has blasted past that pit entrance, not interested also. Guesty is going in. Guesty's going in, but his tyres do look a little bit worn. So Noxie is the leader of our race. Noxie out there is the leader of the race so far, with Talleyrand in a close 2nd place. Pat in 3rd. JTX back out of the pits. He beat Shiren out of the pits. So JTX going in, fueling quite a lot more than the other guys. He's gone for full fuel like Skyjacker. And Skyjacker there behind Racer Brown. Racer Brown a little bit more ahead of him. Homesick Alien's pulled away from Racer Brown. He's chasing down Shiren. Homesick Alien trying to turn his championship woes around. And trying to take it to the Russian. But Shiren on form today. He's made his pit stop already. Noxie is coming up near the end of the lap. What will he do? I'm saying lap 18, lap 17 or 18 is around the halfway mark. Yeah, lap 18 is halfway if they want to go for a one stop. But Noxie is bringing her in. Talleyrand is pushing for that one stopper. With the weight he's carrying, I imagine, and not much opportunity for him to get positions, but through the pit stops. And Talleyrand carries on. Pat also carrying on out there. And JTX catching him up already. JTX giving it a little boost. Giving a little fuel boost to try and catch Pat up. At least get a slipstream from him. JTX running his race like a boss at the moment in his Porsche Super Formula Car 91 on the hunt. And he's closed right up to Pat. Pat's tyres though. No, Pat's tyres are in a good condition. Not too bad for Pat. Talleyrand out there. Quarter of a tank of fuel. Tyres still looking quite okay. And I think he's pushing on to lap 18. JTX with a pit stop in his pocket. Homesick Alien has got past Shiren. So Homesick Alien, he got the fastest lap on lap 14, a 39.5. And he's pushing on. He didn't use his boost. That's just down to pure, beautiful driving. And Shiren losing the spot to the Alien. But he's trying to stay with him. It is like the battle of the best of the rest here in that championship battle. Homesick and Shiren chasing down Talleyrand. And Racer Brown also in that best of the rest battle with these guys. And Skyjacker, he's just being patient, I imagine, just waiting. The guys ahead of him are going to have to pit sooner than he does. He's out there with a bit more fuel, a bit more weight on board, letting them burn their tyres out. It's a waiting game, he says. It's a long game. And Talleyrand going around on lap 16. Those tyres not looking as sticky as they were. He did a 42.6 his last time around. JTX has got himself past Pat now. Still keeping in those 40s. 40.9 though. We know he can go faster. Pat there in third, going long in this race. And you can see Homesick Alien has pulled a little bit away from Shiren, and it looks like Racer Brown was closing the gap. He's getting purples. He's seen Homesick Alien, managed to get past the Russian, and Racer Brown fancies it in his Ferrari. As Homesick Alien comes down towards the hairpin, and Pat is the next one on his checklist, with Talleyrand now all on his own out there. No one to bother him. He just can concentrate on his race. He's doing mid 42s at the moment, but he's looking to do one less pit stop than the rest of the field. And he's going to go around again. JTX chasing him down. Pat, still plenty of fuel on board. Joni in the chat saying hello. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that might be JTX, but I don't know. But yes, Pat staying out, and Homesick Alien. Did Racer Brown get that green, purple? No, Homesick Alien still holding on to the fastest lap with, yeah, Joni saying it is me, JTX. JTX having a great race at the moment, my friends. Out there, 39.6 last time around. Doesn't have to concern himself with Talleyrand, or they may have to concern themselves later in the race with Talleyrand. He's definitely going for a one-stop strategy here, where the other guys are going to be taking an extra pit stop on Talleyrand and Pat. Pat looking to go for that one stop. Homesick in fourth, ahead of Shiren in fifth. Racer Brown in fifth. Skyjacker staying very quiet, keeping his head down, racing his race. He was second before the round of pit stops, but he put more fuel in. Put a lot more fuel on board than the guys ahead of him. Noxie there in 8th place, with Jim in 9th, and Guesty in 10th spot so far. But it's Homesick Alien who's got the fastest laps so far, and he is catching up with Pat, and he wants to try and get past Pat rather swiftly, because Shiren is only just behind Homesick Alien. So Homesick Alien, as he closes up to the back of car number 4, and car number 4's fuel has started flashing now. This will be his last lap out there. Homesick Alien sitting in his tow, on board with the Alien as he follows Pat around, and he doesn't want to be held up too much. Pat's gone a little wide with those less grippier tyres, and Homesick Alien clearing Pat almost instantly, although Pat's coming back at Homesick Alien. Oh, there's a little bang with wheels, another bang with wheels, and Pat really trying to stick it in there, but he hasn't got the grip that Homesick Alien's got. Pat's gone out wide, so Shiren, and Homesick Alien has that 3rd place. And now Pat is Shiren's problem, but Shiren clearing him quite quickly. The one stopping Pat on older tyres out there, trying to battle his position. He's got every right to try and hold position, but these guys on fresher tyres are just too much to race against at the moment. Talleyrand, we're expecting him in for his one and only pit stop at the end of this lap. JTX, the original leader, he's on a 2-stopper. Homesick Alien in 3rd. Shiren already getting past Pat there in 4th. Pat 5th, and Racer Brown right there with Pat. Oh, Racer Brown hanging that back end right out there for the kitty litter. And there we've got Skyjacker a little further back from them, but he did fuel up more in his pit stop. And it's Racer Brown that wants to get past Pat. Pat's tyres not looking too happy. Talleyrand does come into the pits, and there we see Pat coming around into the pit lane now to make his one and only stop. JTX then retakes the lead of this race, with Homesick Alien in 2nd, pulling away from Shiren. Homesick doing a 40.5 that last lap around, and Shiren doing a 40.4. Shiren a little bit faster than the Alien, but I think that was the lap they had to get past Pat. Racer Brown a 40.9. Skyjacker doing a 41.3, but them two, well, I say Skyjacker's on a lot less fuel. It's not really, I mean, a lot more fuel, but he's not really got that much more fuel on board. Noxie very close. Oh, Noxie's got the fastest lap now, a 39.3. Noxie on those super softs, finding some great speed out there, and he's closed up behind Skyjacker. And now Skyjacker has got to make the decision. Does he race Noxie? Does he let him go? Because if you race the guy, it slows you down, and I think Skyjacker's let him go, you know. Didn't get very defensive in that corner. I think he's let Noxie go on that one. He's probably thought, hey, I can use you as a slipstream if you're that fast, and worry about you later in the race. Interesting stuff, though. So JTX out there leading the way from Homesick Alien, and JTX has got an absolute chasm of space between himself and 2nd place. Shiren in 3rd, keeping Homesick Alien company. Racer Brown not too far behind those guys also. And Noxie up to 5th after making the move on Skyjacker. And Skyjacker, I'm not sure if he's looking after his car, managing his fuel at the moment. With Jim in 7th, Talleyrand's come out of the pits in 8th. That one-stop strategy has put him down in 8th, but the guys again ahead of him will have to make another pit stop, but they do look a full length of this straight ahead of him. Guesty there in 9th behind Talleyrand, and Pat coming out in 10th from his pit stop. He's got to chase after Guesty again. Unbelievable stuff. So JTX is leading our race on lap 20. Only 16 more laps to go. And this is looking very solid for JTX, with Homesick Alien in second place. Sharen, the Russian sensation, car 69, chasing down the Alien. And he hasn't let Homesick get too far. They've been matching each other's lap times. Homesick Alien doing a 39.9 last time around. Homesick Alien putting those on the super softs for this stint. Sharen went for the softs, but Sharen is using his boost to stay with the Alien. The Alien still hasn't touched that boost yet. Racer Brown has used a bit of boost, but he's seeming to lose track of the cars ahead of him. He's just going through the chicane, so he's not too far behind. Noxie on an absolute flyer out there. He's pulled away from Skyjacker, and we think Skyjacker looking after his tyres and his fuel at this point in the race, as Noxie comes around in 5th place to cross the line and post a 4:39.8. And Jim, Skyjacker's disappeared. Oh no! Oh, I know. I'm sure Skyjacker doesn't want us to go looking at what happened to him then. But Skyjacker coming through the chicane, up around the pit lane. Ooh, nasty. That was nasty. And Jim gets through ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker a little distracted, I imagine, by his instrument panel, and giving the pit wall a good old clout. And that helps Talleyrand close that gap to Skyjacker. Does it though? Because Skyjacker looks miles away. He's going into the first corner. So Talleyrand and that one-stop strategy isn't getting him anywhere at the moment, but we'll tell after the next round of pit stops. But JTX at the moment looking formidable. This could be his first win this season. I don't want to speak too early. We've still got 15 laps to go, and he's being chased by some serious contenders, with Homesick Alien, Sharen and Racer Brown all in a row out there. Unbelievable stuff. But Homesick Alien just cannot shake off Sharen at the moment. Sharen on those racing soft tyres, matching Homesick Alien's lap times. And the question is, when will they be in for their second stop? Like I said, there's only 15 laps to go, and they pitted around lap 15 in the beginning. Homesick Alien on a quarter of a tank of fuel, as is Sharen. Racer Brown also on a quarter of a tank, and they go around again. And Noxie on a flyer. He's not too far behind those guys, is he? He's catching them up with his speed on his super softs. Jim now up into 6th, not too far behind either. And Skyjacker in 7th after his little knock with the pit wall. He's missed it this time. Talleyrand in 8th place, Guesty in 9th, and Pat in 10th. But JTX has taken this race by the scruff of the neck on lap 22 of 36, and he's doing an absolute cracking job so far in his Porsche sponsored Super Formula, as they represent a manufacturer for their Super Formula. Haas, I guess that's Ferrari as well, isn't it? Ferrari engine in the Haas. Oh God, Sharen's got ahead of Homesick. I apologise, I missed that. So Sharen up into 2nd spot. Homesick Alien must have made a mistake. I'm not going to bang it all the way back. I don't know when it happened. But Sharen now up into 2nd place, and Homesick Alien slipping back into 3rd. Not too far behind Sharen, but it's not what Homesick Alien could do with, really, as Sharen makes his way around. Homesick Alien trying to grab that position back. from the Russian sensation, with Racer Brown not too far behind him. Racer Brown stamping on his boost button to try and catch those guys up, and Homesick Alien closing the gap to Shiren, trying to put him under attack. And it's the hairpin that he wants to go for. That seems to be the place to make the moves. Shiren, though, remember, using up quite a bit of boost, where Homesick still hasn't used any of that boost yet. He's out wide, trying to get a good run on Shiren down to this, but Shiren has got a good distance on the Alien at the moment. Those super softs might be just losing a little bit of traction out there for the Alien. Now he's using a bit of boost to try and stay with Shiren. Racer Brown, he loves the podium, does Racer Brown. He's thereabouts. He's waiting. Noxie there in 5th, still doing some absolutely smashing lap times there for Noxie. He's flying at the moment. He's not too far behind that little battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th ahead. Jim there in 6th. He can just about see Noxie up the road. Talleyrand's got himself ahead of Skyjacker. Oh my God, Skyjacker's race has gone from worse to worse. And now Talleyrand is up into 7th and Skyjacker down into 8th. And this is one of his favourite tracks. Possibly not his favourite car, but he has slipped back a position to Talleyrand. And that is not the news that the likes of Shiren, Racer Brown and Homesick want to know. They need as many cars in front of that man as possible in this championship. He's already 17 points ahead with only this round and the next to go. He's a tough guy to beat. We'll catch up. As JTX, though, still leading this race. And he has been untouchable so far over the last 24 laps. Shiren, Homesick and Racer Brown all within touching distance of each other. Racer Brown, though, he's going to be in the pits at the end of this lap, I surmise. Homesick Alien and Shiren, both of them are quite low on fuel, but Racer Brown is desperate. He's on vapours, and Noxie is closing the gap to those guys. It's great drive from Noxie at the moment. Jim in 6th, Talleyrand 7th, and Skyjacker there in 8th. Is Racer Brown going to come in? Oh, we're miles away from the pit stops yet. Shiren staying ahead of the Alien. Homesick Alien keeping a close eye. His front tyres are looking a little worn now for Homesick Alien. He must be starting to feel a bit of understeer in that Super Formula. As Shiren gets through the chicane, are they all going to throw it into the pits? Yes, yes, and yes. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th all come into the pits, and Noxie also... No, Noxie stays out. Noxie stays out. His fuel is flashing, but he has decided to go for another lap. Those tyres do look fresh, though. JTX out there still doing a great run. Jim stayed out as well. His fuel's flashing, but his tyres still looking fresh, bruv. Talleyrand on that one stop. Is this race going to come back to him? He's into the last corner. Skyjacker dropping it into the pits like it's hot. Guesty stays out. Pat stays out. And Talleyrand, where is he? Talleyrand in 4th place. Does he get the jump on him? Homesick Aliens out of the pits. Ahead of Shiren. Talleyrand's there at the scene of the crime. And Homesick Alien just ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand's got the momentum, though. That one-stop strategy getting him ahead of Shiren and Racer Brown, but not quite Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien, has he short-fueled it for the rest of the race? And there we see from Shiren's point of view as he flies through that chicane, chasing down Talleyrand. No, they've all put in about 3/4 of a tank, so they must be confident that's going to get them all the way to the end. And Guesty has just been overtaken by Pat. Pat getting through on Guesty. Guesty down into 9th. His tyres are looking pretty haggard, though. And Pat, with his one-stop strategy, just coming in and getting himself out equal to Guesty. Guesty's still got another stop to make. And there is Skyjacker from 2nd down to 10th. for his story of his race so far. JTX is into the pits. Noxie is also into the pits, and Jim's got to come into the pits, surely. He is. So where's Homesick going to end up? JTX had a mile on Homesick. I'd be very surprised if Homesick can get the jump on JTX in this race. I'm pretty confident JTX is going to be out of the pits before Homesick Alien gets there. Sharen's got himself ahead of Talleyrand, so's Racer Brown. Talleyrand's tyres obviously not standing up to these two drivers. Sharen went for the super softs, and JTX is coming out of the pit lane ahead of the Alien by a mile. There you go, JTX, smooth run all the way to the end. We're on lap 26, we've got 10 laps to go, and JTX has put the super softs on. Homesick Alien, Racer Brown's got himself ahead of Sharen. Oh my word. So Racer Brown, he loves a podium, and he's getting himself into that podium position perfectly for the last stint of the race. Sharen just ahead of Talleyrand, and Talleyrand's tyres are only going to go one way, where Sharen's and Racer Brown's are absolutely brand new. And Talleyrand clinging to the back of those two riders. Pat then in a good 6th place for the one-stoppers. Noxie comes out behind Pat in 7th. Guesty still hasn't made that pit stop yet. Jim is just behind Guesty, with Skyjacker miles away. I think he's had another issue, hasn't he? He must do. He's way off of the pace. I've got to admit, I got a message from Skyjacker, just a GIF, and I thought that was Skyjacker hinting that he'd won this race. I was expecting to see Skyjacker up there. Oh, and there he goes again, another spin, and the Spin Jacker's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Spin is back. Tell your friends. Tell them back. Spin is back. Spin is back. Spin Jacker. So JTX then leading the way, doing an absolutely formidable job. Homesick Alien putting the fights back in the championship, but Talleyrand's only in 4th. Sharen needs to get ahead of Talleyrand. Sharen falling behind Talleyrand somewhere along the way, and Sharen lining Talleyrand up for a move down to the first corner. It's looking very good between the Russian sensation and Talleyrand, and they're side by side. A wiggle on from Sharen, but he managed to get through a bit of wheel smoke. And yes, Sharen up into 4th place. My word. That was some close call race in there between Talleyrand and Sharen. Super stuff. Unbelievable from the Russian sensation. JTX out there leading, but it looks like Homesick is closing the gap on JTX. JTX might not have this one in the bag. He seems to be losing time to Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien with all that boost on board. JTX has only got half of his boost. This is a nail-biting final. Few laps. I was trying to count the laps. 9 laps. It was quite easy, actually, when I thought about it. I just had a quick glance and then thought I had to do math. So, yeah, it's 9 laps. It would take 1 away from 10. So Homesick Alien trying to close the gap on JTX. Racer Brown finding himself in another podium position, with Sharen there in 4th place, just ahead of Talleyrand. That's good for Homesick Alien's championship bid. It's going to close it right up, because I think Sharen is 2nd. Homesick Alien might be 3rd. I'm getting the championship table back up, because that's interesting stuff. I think this closes it right up in the table. Yeah, Sharen is 3rd on 130 points. Sharen's 2nd on 130 points. Racer Brown's 3rd on 129 points, and Homesick Alien 4th on 121 points. So Homesick's he's a bit of a drift. I don't think he's really gonna get too much into Sharen's and Racer Brown's championship business, but every point counts. JTX though, JTX looks like he's losing ground on the Alien. It's worrying me. I'm nervous for the Flying Finn at this point in the race. It seems like Homesick Alien has got the bit between his teeth, and he's pushing on. He's pulled away from Racer Brown quite immensely in this part of the race. Sharen pulling away from Talleyrand. Pat in 6th, closing that gap to Talleyrand. Talleyrand might be in trouble as well. And Noxie, we've seen he's very fast today. He might be able to jump these 2 cars ahead of him if he plays his cards right. Jim there in 8th. Skyjacker is in the pits again. There's nothing wrong with the car. I think he's pitting it. I think he's dropping it in. There you go. They are changing the tyres. Oh, he's going for fastest lap possibly. He's not put no fuel in. He's just gone for a set of brand new softs. And I think he's out there to try and get himself the fastest lap. With JTX then leading the way from Homesick Alien, but that gap is getting ever smaller. JTX crosses the line with a 39.5. Homesick Alien 39.7. Then we have a Racer Brown, a 40.2, and then Sharon, a 40.3. Talleyrand still ahead of Pat in 5th place, Pat 6th, and Noxie absolutely flying. He's going for a move on Pat from quite far back. Can he slow the car down enough? No, Pat goes through, and that was Noxie giving it some Billy late brakes, but Billy big balls, but he just couldn't get the car slowed down. But he's still there with Pat. Pat though on the inside, and Pat's out wide. Can Noxie still get something out of that? No, but that battle is going to continue for a few laps yet. We've got 7 laps left of this race, and Pat and Noxie going at it there for 6th and 7th. That helps Talleyrand out immensely, and Jim, as you can see, Jim closing up. Jim's got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 39.085, and he's closed right up on the back of Noxie, who is trying to battle with Pat to get that 6th place. Pat trying to defend it with all his might out there, and Talleyrand just cruising away from that battle. JTX then, he's still ahead of the Alien. In the chat we've got Binko saying return of the spin jacker with a vengeance. It was a good spin as well. And Racer Brown saying I have a good battle with Sharon. And Racer Brown then, at the moment you're ahead of Sharon quite a bit. Couple of car lengths on Sharon. It's all happening here in the last 6 laps. JTX still maintaining that lead, but he has lost a little bit of distance on the Alien. The Alien pushing on. Did a 40.0 his last time around, a 41 from JTX. I'm getting nervous for JTX. My foot's starting to bounce. Come on, Jay, you can do it. Come on. And Racer Brown then in that final podium position. Sharon, 39.7 from Sharon last time around. Racer Brown doing a 40.2, so Sharon on a push. There's blue flags out there. That must be Skyjacker. Yeah, Skyjacker. He's just put on a fresh set of super softs, going for a fastest lap after this outlap. He's getting out of the way of our contenders as they go through. JTX leading from Homesick Alien, with Racer Brown chasing him down. Sharon in 4th, Talleyrand in that 5th place, coming up towards Skyjacker. There's Pat just ahead of Jim. Jim's got himself ahead of Noxie. Jim on an absolute pelt at the end of this race, finding some great pace. And Talleyrand, he's not as far ahead as Pat. Pat just ahead of Jim. And it's a close battle here between 6th, 7th and 8th. There's dust. No, it's all right. Talleyrand, Pat, they're all still in their same position, but it looks like Talleyrand's lost a little bit of distance to those guys. They're all closing up. There's 4 cars there. Jim's going for a move in the chicane, a tight move there, but he backs out of it. And oh, Noxie avoids Jim, and he's had a bit of an off. Oh, poor Noxie, but there is Talleyrand, Pat and Jim all very close together. Jim on his boost button, trying to get something going. Pat's making the move on Talleyrand. He's made the move on Talleyrand. Talleyrand's up the inside though. Is Talleyrand going to late break it into the corner? And oh my word, Pat's through. Jim's through. Talleyrand losing positions here. And this is making that championship look very, very juicy. Juicy indeed, Lucy. But Jim holding ground. Talleyrand looks like he's trying to get back that position from Jim, with Pat now up into 5th place, making that one stop work for him. JTX though still leading this race, lap 31 of 36. Homesick Alien, a 39.4 his last time around. JTX doing a 39.7. He's back on the pace again. There we see Racer Brown, and it does look like Shiren is starting to catch up. Racer Brown for that final podium position. We've got Jim in 5th. He's got himself ahead of Pat now. Pat losing a position to Jim, and Jim really coming back in this race. He was miles off. If you remember, in lap 1 he dropped right off the pack, and look at him, he's pulled it back now. He's up into 5th. 6th for Pat, ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand lining Pat up though for a move as they come up towards the chicane very fast, and oh my word, Talleyrand had to take to the dirt there to avoid Pat, and oh, it's tight stuff there, and Pat's gone a little wide in the chicane, and Noxie is trying to get something here, and Noxie gets through. He goes through between the two of them. Beautiful stuff there from Noxie. I'm tempted to knock it back and get on board. Just a quick one, just for my own pleasures. So here we are, sat on board a replay with Noxie, as you see Pat and Talleyrand bickering over the chicane, and look at that, that was beautiful. Well, I mean, he knocked both cars, but still, just letting them know he's coming through. So Noxie now up into 6th, but Jim has ran and hit in that 5th place, so I don't think Noxie may catch him up. There's only 4 laps left of this race. JTX still leading. I have to keep coming and checking. 39.6 for JTX last time around. Homesick Alien at 39.9. Very close between the two leaders. It's shocking. There is Racer Brown, and Shiren is closing up on Racer Brown. Shiren getting a 40.0 last time around, and Racer Brown a 40.3. Very tight there. Shiren closing up on the Brown for that final podium position. And how is our man Guesty there in 9th after his pit stop? And Skyjacker, we assume, is going to try and go for a fastest lap there in 10th spot. He's 2 tenths down on his own time. And oh my gosh. And Shiren now has closed up on Racer Brown. 4 laps to go in this race. Shiren wants that podium, and Racer Brown also wants the podium. It's very tight indeed out there. And Shiren, let's get on board as he follows Racer Brown up towards the chicane. The chicane is not really a place to make overtaking manoeuvres. And Racer Brown stays ahead of the Russian. Saw a bit of wheel smoke there, but it's all right. Racer Brown doing a cracking job. And in the chat, Ryan saying 3 wide into turn 1 Nürburgring GP, let's go. And Binko saying, from the look of it, Talleyrand knocked Pat, which caused him to go wide. So Talleyrand redressed, and that caused Noxie to get the pair of them. Yes, he gained from them two bickering. And here we see Shiren chasing down Racer Brown. Homesick Alien is closing that gap to JTX. JTX doing an absolute stand-up job there. Jim still in that 5th place ahead of Noxie. Pat ahead of Talleyrand. Guesty in 9th with Skyjacker off the track again. My word, this is not going well. And there's another spin. Guess who's back? Back again. I'm going to watch you all day, Sky. Why not? There's racing, but I'd rather watch Spinjacker do his thing. Look at him go. There isn't a man in this club that can do a spin like Spinjacker. So JTX then still leading from Homesick Alien. Racer Brown and Shiren very tight indeed. Racer Brown staying just ahead of Shiren. Shiren throwing everything he's got at Racer Brown. Racer Brown defending like a lion, but that is it. Shiren's up, he's into 3rd. Shiren's done the job. It's an impossible job to do, and he's made it stick. And Shiren now has that podium position from Racer Brown. No one takes a podium from Racer Brown. No one, except for Shiren, who's just did it. So Shiren now up into 3rd place. Racer Brown down into 4th. Jim in 5th. Noxie there in 6th. Pat's catching Noxie up though. That's one to watch. We're on lap 33. Soon to be 34. There you go. JTX is already on 34. And there is Homesick Alien. He cannot close that gap to JTX. JTX did a 39.7 his last time around. Homesick Alien doing a 40.3. Shiren, the Russian sensation. Absolute ballsy move against Racer Brown. and he makes it stick. So Shiren there on his way. Can he hold that ground ahead of Racer Brown? Racer Brown setting chase, and Jim's catching them guys up. Jim did a 39.4, Racer Brown a 42.2, Shiren doing a 41. These guys racing each other could put Jim into the chance, but Jim's low on fuel with 2 laps to go. Can Jim make that fuel last? Noxie, plenty of fuel on board, and Jim might be in trouble there. Jim possibly could be in trouble with his fuel loads. Pat on okay on fuel, tyres not so hot. Talleyrand down in 8th place, Guesty in 9th, and Skyjacker been in the pits. He's put hards on. What? He's put racing hards on now. He's just playing around, isn't he? So JTX leading his way around to start lap 35. And his heart must be in his mouth. Homesick Alien chasing him all the way, making a real fight of this one. And JTX getting a 40.2 that lap around. Homesick Alien a 40.9. There we see Shiren in 3rd, and Jim has had to come in. Poor Jim. Jim's got to come in for a splash and dash right at the end, so Noxie moves up into 5th place. Pat moving up into 6th, and Talleyrand in 7th. Oh, that's a shame for these guys trying to fight him for the championship here in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. They would have been more happy with Talleyrand down there in 8th, and Jim. He's going to be sacking his strategist after this race for not fueling enough. He gets out ahead of Guesty though. He just comes around that final corner, and Skyjacker, that was a lovely little putting himself back recovery, and he's going into the pits. No, not hard tyres, he says. So JTX out there. Still, he looks like he's pulled away from Homesick Alien, if anything. It looks like he's got himself a little bit of breathing space on the penultimate lap of this race. And this, we could see JTX taking Porsche for their first win in the VRC. VRC Super Formula. Homesick Alien chasing him down in his Leyland. Shiren has managed to pull away from Racer Brown. Racer Brown's fuel is flashing, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be okay for the rest of this race. And Noxie gaining that position from Pat, Jim having to pit. Pat's fuel's flashing, Talleyrand's fuel's flashing. Jim is not flashing anymore. Guesty and Skyjacker, what tyres is he going to go for this time? Mediums, possibly? He's gone back to softs. I think he just did that because he wanted me to say that Skyjacker's got hard on. But JTX so far then on his final lap. There is Homesick Alien. He can't stay with the Flying Finn. They're in the same shot as each other, but it looks like JTX, unless he does something ridiculous on this final lap, has got this one sewn up with a lovely little stitch. And there is Shiren. He's gained a bit of distance from Racer Brown, so Racer Brown cannot put up a fight for that final podium position. Noxie in 5th, Pat there in 6th, Talleyrand in 7th, Jim in 8th, Guesty in 9th, and Skyjacker there in 10th. And here he comes up towards the left-hander, JTX, into the right-hander. Floors it all the way towards the final chicane. Homesick Alien still thereabouts. JTX can't do anything silly. He's just got to get round that final corner. And here he comes, the Flying Finn, taking round 10, the win for JTX. Well done, my friend. Homesick Alien grabs himself 2nd place, and the Russian Sensation bringing her home in the Haas for the final podium. Take a boo, my son. Racer Brown grabbing 4th ahead of Noxie in 5th. Super stuff. Pat comes home in 6th place with just enough fuel ahead of Talleyrand in 7th. Jim not too far behind. Poor Jim and his fuel, but he gets the fastest lap, does Jim, in 8th. And Skyjacker already finishing. And I will pause it there. Because Guesty is in the chicane. He's got a little time yet, but best to. Whoo-wee. So, in the chat, Ryan saying Shiren just needs to lick the stamp. He did, and he sent it. Let's go. So, there you go. The Flying Finn JTX takes a win for round 10 here at Nürburgring. Great stuff from from JTX, the Porsche Marquis. Then Homesick Alien chased him all the way and wouldn't let him make a mistake. And Homesick Alien getting some great points in this championship. He well needs them against Shiren, Racer Brown and Talleyrand. Shiren getting the final podium position there for Haas. Racer Brown just missing out at the end there. Noxie doing a cracking job. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Noxie, sorry, I can't get a good shot. Noxie getting a great 5th place there ahead of Pat in 6th. Talleyrand in 7th in his Subaru. Is it enough? Is it enough points to maintain? Well, it is. He's 17 points in the lead of the championship, I'm sure, and that's from Shiren. So he's 18 points ahead of Racer Brown, who finished in 4th. And, God, I don't even want to work out how many points he is ahead of Homesick, but a lot. So, Talleyrand still maintaining that lead in the championship, I believe. There is a Jim, poor Jim. There's going to be a strategist sacked tonight for that fuel decision of his in his Lucky Strike Honda. 9th for Guesty, just not his day today. It's not been his week, really, I don't think. He didn't have a great race on Tuesday. And he's not had a great race here at Nürburgring today. And Skyjacker, I don't know what happened to Skyjacker. Some tomfoolery happening out there. He's just seeing how many degrees he could spin that car in this race. He was going for record spins. In the chat, Racer Brown saying, hopefully my weight will go down now. I've been at 115% the whole season. No, I think there was a meeting behind your back, Racer Brown. The way you won the first race in round 1, they all decided just to keep you on 115% throughout the season. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with your weight, I must say. There is a method to it all, I'm sure. So JTX takes the win ahead of Homesick Alien with Shiren rounding out the podium. Racer Brown finishing in 4th with Noxie in 5th. Pat there in 6th. Talleyrand 7th. Jim in 8th. Guesty 9th. And Skyjacker finishing in 10th. Jim got the fastest lap with a 39.085. But I imagine that's a small condolence after running out of fuel in a great 5th position. And catching Racer Brown up as well. I imagine he was not happy. Okay, well, that's the Super Formulas. The next live stream, and it will be live, is Sunday evening. If you're watching live right now, that's tonight. For the V-Dub Enduro Bug on the streets of Tokyo. So don't miss that. And thank you for everyone who watched. Thank you for everyone who partook. And I hope you had as good a time as me. That was a cracking little race. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, ring my bell for the whole YouTube business that streamers say and do. I hear it. I hear it when I watch people streaming. They always say, hit like, subscribe, ring my bell for notifications. So do all that. I can't exactly say how to do it, but do it. And I will catch you next time. I'll tell you all about us as well. We are the Virtual Racers Club. We have a website, www.virtualracersclub.co.uk. You can keep up to date with all our tables. They're all kept up to date on there. And if you want to join our community, then we have a Discord. It's in the About bit. If you're watching this, if you go to our YouTube thing and click About, it's there. You can see us. It'll tell you how to get into Discord. I'm sure there's a link there somehow, some way. I was your broadcaster and your commentator, Peter Beta. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you next time. Peace and love. Peace and love, y'all.